By the early 2000s, it would be easy to assume that David Fincher's career had already peaked. How could he follow up such influential and ambitious films such as Seven and Fight Club? The answer would be, not easily. Panic Room, Zodiac, and the very poorly received Curious Case of Benjamin Button didn't lack any of Fincher's innovative techniques, style, or originality, but something was definitely missing. He needed the right script. Enter Aaron Sorkin, a master wordsmith who had made his name in theatre, film, and television with A Few Good Men and The West Wing, to name but a few of his accomplishments.
Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Are we clear?
Crystal.
The script in question was The Social Network. On paper, The Social Network, the story of the founding of Facebook, sounded like a dry proposition. Benjamin Button perhaps demonstrated that without the genre trappings of a thriller, Fincher might not be able to deliver the same impact that audiences had come to expect from him. Instead, the alchemy of Fincher's obsessive eye for detail and Sorkin's razor-sharp script resulted in a dynamic retelling of one of the biggest cultural revolutions in recent times. Jesse Eisenberg brings some life to the emotionally detached Zuckerberg, dropping Sorkin one-liners and glacial stares as he changes the world in a time before social media, if we can remember that far back. The film's narrative is told through a series of flashbacks as we watch the legal depositions as Zuckerberg is accused of stealing the idea from the Ivy League alpha male Winklevoss twins, both played by Armie Hammer, and forcing out his co-founder and best friend, Eduardo Saverin, played by Andrew Garfield. During the opening credits, as we watch Zuckerberg run back to his dorm after being dumped, we see a series of wide shots of the campus. Zuckerberg is small and insignificant, blending in and barely noticeable. These early scenes are also quite dark and shadowy to show that the spotlight is not on Zuckerberg yet. He's still in the shadows, in obscurity. After he creates Facebook and during the depositions, he's in brighter rooms. He's visible and in the spotlight as he's gained status.
You know, you really don't need a forensics team to get to the bottom of this. If you guys were the inventors of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook.
I can't wait to stand over your shoulder and watch you write us a check.
No shit.
Status, and social status in particular, is also a big concern in the film, not only for Zuckerberg, but his best and only friend, Eduardo. Zuckerberg and Eduardo are portrayed as outsiders, but they're excluded from things such as parties, sports, and social events. The film opens with Zuckerberg obsessing over whether he can get in to an exclusive club at Harvard, which will give him status and help him achieve greatness in his career. Deep in his mind, however, Zuckerberg knows that he doesn't have the necessary attributes to gain such acceptance.
You got a 1600?
Yes, I could sing in an a cappella group, but I can't
Does that
sing.
mean you actually got nothing
I
wrong?
could row crew or invent a $25 PC.
Or you get into a final club?
Or I get into a final club.
You know, from a woman's perspective, sometimes not singing in an a cappella group is a good thing.
This is serious.
On the other hand, I do like guys who row crew.
Well, I can't do that.
I was kidding.
And yes, I got nothing wrong on the test.
Have you ever tried
I'm trying right now
to row crew?
to get into a final club. To row crew, no. Are you like, whatever, delusional?
It's this sense of rejection, and an actual rejection after he's dumped by his girlfriend, that fuels him onto the path to creativity. We see a montage of him coding as he builds FaceMash, a website where college girls are rated on their attractiveness. As the website comes to fruition and other loners on campus peruse girls virtually, Fincher intercuts the sequence with a party at one of the exclusive Harvard social clubs where frat boy types objectify girls in real life. By the end of the montage, even the frat boys are on FaceMash. This shows us two things. Not only is Zuckerberg creating a virtual world to replace the real world that he's excluded from, but he's also impacting and disrupting the real world. As a result of FaceMash, we see that Zuckerberg gains some notoriety. However, it still prevents him and Eduardo from getting the one thing they want more than acceptance, and that's to get girls.
I tried to stop you.
I know.
How do you do this thing where you manage to get all girls to hate us? Why do I let you?
I know.
I can't do that.
Righto, I said I know.
Throughout the film, there are several references to the correlation between invention, creativity, entrepreneurship, and sex. Zuckerberg considers Facebook complete once he adds the relationship status function, as he believes it's the possibility of having sex that fuels social life on campus, if not in the whole world.
That's what the Facebook is going to be about. People are going to log on because after all the cake and watermelon, there's a chance they're actually going
Gonna
to
get laid.
meet a girl. Yes.
That is really good
And that was it.
What do you mean?
It's ready.
It's ready?
Yeah.
Right now?
That was it.
Sex also specifically fuels Zuckerberg and Eduardo. They get laid once Facebook becomes popular on campus and refer to the girls as groupies. It affirms their status and fulfills their desire to be cool as they become more popular and get recognized on the street.
Excuse me, Mark? Yeah. I'm Stuart Singer. I'm in your OS lab.
Sure.
Awesome job with the Facebook. Awesome job.
Thanks.
I'm Bob.
How you doing?
You know, I could swear he was looking at you when he said the next Bill Gates could be right in this room.
I doubt it.
And I showed up late. I don't even know who the speaker was.
It was Bill Gates.
Later in the film, when Zuckerberg meets cool Napster entrepreneur Sean Parker, played by Justin Timberlake, Parker tells Zuckerberg how the lingerie chain Victoria's Secret was founded just because the founder was too embarrassed to buy sexy lingerie for his wife. Following that story, Parker confesses that the only reason he created Napster was to seduce a girl as well.
You know why I started Napster? The girl I loved in high school was with the co-captain of the varsity lacrosse team, and I wanted to take her from him. So I decided to come up with the next big thing.
I didn't know that.
Napster wasn't a failure. I changed the music industry for better and for always. It may not have been good business, but it pissed a lot of people off. And isn't that what your face mash was about? They're scared of me, pal, and they're gonna be scared of you.
We're not starting a knife fight in the Crimson, and we're not suing anybody.
Why not? I understand. Why not?
He's gonna say it's stupid.
What, who, me?
Say it. Why not?
Because we're gentlemen of Harvard. This is Harvard, where you don't plant stories and you don't sue people.
You thought he was going to be the only one who thought that was stupid?
Whatever the motivation, what's very clear is that the advent of social media brought an end to the old world and ushered in a new technological age. The conflicts that Zuckerberg has throughout the film, and with the Winklevoss twins in particular, plays out this disruption. To Zuckerberg, they're large, athletic wasps who represent the establishment. Their arrogance and entitlement rubs Zuckerberg up the wrong way, so when they offer him a chance to build a social network, he secretly builds his own, which leads to him making powerful enemies. Their old world sensibility is no match for Zuckerberg's renegade spirit. Where they have some sense of a moral code or ethics, Zuckerberg doesn't. They have never come across someone as driven as Zuckerberg, who also believes in being first.
No, he never lied to our faces.
Okay, he never saw our faces, fine. He lied to our email accounts, and he gave himself a 42-day head start because he knows what apparently you don't, which is that getting there first is everything.
I'm a competitive racer, Div. I don't think you need to school me on the importance of getting there first. Thank you.
Fincher depicts Zuckerberg's defeat over the Winklevoss twins in two key scenes. The first is when the twins complain to the president of Harvard, only to be met with apathy. The Winklevoss legacy and their father's donations amount to nothing. But also, the institution of Harvard itself is rendered as archaic, as it has no agency in this brave new world. The fact that the doorknob comes off in one of the twins' hands further underlines what a relic the institution is. The second scene is the Henley Royal Regatta scene, where we see the twins lose the boat race after months of training. It's probably the first time they've lost in their lives. Not only does this mark a turn of fortune for the brothers and their diminishing dominance, but also, through Fincher's use of tilt-shift lenses, the setting almost looks like a novelty miniature village, suggesting that this old world of tradition is becoming smaller and less significant compared to the visionary world that Zuckerberg is creating. Even the leaderboard at Henley is very outdated and analog.
Let's gut the friggin' nerd.
As Zuckerberg's vision for Facebook becomes clearer, we start to see that from his point of view, it replaces all of the things that he wishes to replace, simply because he either doesn't understand them or is rejected by them. Facebook becomes like his own fraternity, coding parties become drinking games, and he's bypassed the humiliating initiations to get into elitist clubs. He has his own club.
I'm talking about taking the entire social experience of college and putting it online.
I can't feel my legs.
I know. I'm totally psyched about this too. You have part of my attention. You have the minimum amount. The rest of my attention is back at the offices of Facebook, where my colleagues and I are doing things that no one in this room, including and especially your clients, are intellectually or creatively capable of doing. Did I adequately answer your condescending question?
It's safe to say that Zuckerberg is fueled by his ego. His ego is bruised by petty jealousies. In many ways, we're watching his ego battle his desires so that he can do what he wants. The characters of Eduardo Saverin and Sean Parker represent the inner conflict in Zuckerberg's mind. In psychoanalytical terms, Eduardo is Zuckerberg's superego. He's the moral conscience. Eduardo is ethical, honest, and tries to get Mark to do the right thing. When Sean Parker enters the fold, Eduardo doesn't want them to go into business with him due to his dubious past. To quote the movie, myths need a devil, and he actually comes in the form of Parker, not Zuckerberg.
I'm not a bad guy.
When Parker first meets Zuckerberg, Zuckerberg is immediately entranced. Parker is cool, articulate, and a maverick. All the things that Zuckerberg wants to be. He bombards Zuckerberg with slick dreams and women and ideas, and is essentially Zuckerberg's id run rampant, seducing him with all of his wildest desires of sex, money, and fame.
$1 million isn't cool. You know what's cool?
You?
$1 billion valuation.
By the end, however, Zuckerberg destroys them both in order to protect himself and the company. He brings balance to himself mentally and seizes Facebook, but in doing so, he finds himself alone. The great irony is that Zuckerberg ended up being the antithesis of everything he set out to achieve. Once an outsider, now Zuckerberg and Facebook have become an institution in its own right, with its own problems and ethical issues. In the closing scene of the movie, once the depositions are done, we see Zuckerberg back where he started, and even though he has wealth and status, he's back in front of a computer screen, desperate for connection, friendship, or love. But then, aren't we all? It's our addiction to this that also helped build Facebook. So that's my take on The Social Network. Thanks for watching. See you next time.